Hey fellow YouTubers, thanks for tuning in. My name is Tassel and this is our very first makeup video tutorial, and I am representing Bang, so all the brushes that I'm going to be using today are from the Confidential collection. So with that in mind, let's get started. For me, before I do anything, I have to put my active medicine on, and that's just because I tend to get a little oily and I can break out, so I just want to make sure I control that before I start putting on my makeup. So I've already done that. The next thing I'm going to do is put on my moisturizer because it's very important, ladies. This is actually going to make you have softer skin and you're going to look younger and your skin is going to be more moisturized and refreshed. So make sure that you put on moisturizer. So I'm just going to dot it all over and rub it in. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my concealer on. So and I'm just going to go over the blemishes that I have. Oh, and then I should have mentioned that this is the brush that I'm using. That's a concealer brush here, and it's synthetic fibers, so this is what you need when you're doing anything or that has that's liquid or is cream, because the natural fibers can actually absorb some of that moisture. Now moving along, I'm going to go put on my foundation, and I'm going to be using my foundation brush. There you go. So what I like to do is I just like to dot the areas, and then you want to blend. So the next thing you want to do is put on your powder to set the foundation. So you actually have a choice between what kind of brush you want to use. You can use the standard face brush, and this is a little wet because I was washing it earlier, or you can use the kabuki brush, and the kabuki brush has a more full coverage than with the the face brush. So I'm going to go ahead and use my kabuki because I actually love this brush very much. It's the softest kabuki. And for those of you who have ever used Bare Minerals, their kabuki brush is actually really scratchy, and I don't feel like it's just, I feel like whatever I'm putting on is also taking it off at the same time because it's, you know, it's so coarse and it's so thick. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my powder. So the next thing I'm going to do are my eyebrows, and for eyebrows we have two different brushes that you can choose from. There are these two brushes right here. Now this one, of course, you can see is longer, and it's also a little bit thicker, and this one is smaller. And I like to use the smaller one for my eyebrows because when you're doing your eyebrows, you generally want to use short strokes. And this way, you know, it just gives your eyebrows more of a fuller look. And when you're doing your eyeliner, you want to use this because you want to do longer strokes. And this one, because you know if you do multiple strokes on the eyeliner, it won't be even, and you can see like little frays, I guess you could call it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one. Again, and I'm going to get kind of close here. Now for me, I use two different colors on my eyebrows, and I use darker on the outside, and I'm going to use a lighter color. Although it's going to blend in and it's not going to look like any difference, but I am going to use a lighter color on the inside. Now you can kind of see the two holes right here. I used to have an eyebrow piercing and I took it out. In fact, I had a lot of piercings and I took it out. My whole face was pierced up, but that was in my adolescent years. So I'm going back with a lighter color, and like I said, you can't really tell that there's much of a difference, but I promise you it is a lighter color. And it's just so that it gives like a more, it gives you like a more natural look. And for people like me, I mean, I have very, very thin eyebrows, and they're so light that you can't really see them. So really, no matter what I do, they're not going to really look very natural because I don't have any hair. But there is a trick that I do use, and I will get to that in a little bit. Okay, so the next thing that I do with my eyebrows is I actually use wax. And this is the wax that I use comes with the eyebrow color. So I'm just going to lightly apply it, and this is just so that it's barely touching my hairs. Because if you apply it like color, then you're just going to get this really thick waxy eyebrow, and you don't want that. You just want it to barely touch the hairs of your eyebrows, and this actually keeps the hairs in place. And it also defines your eyebrow hair, so it just looks a little bit more natural. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do an all over eye color, and I like to use this brush here. And this is actually one of our bigger eyeshadow brushes, and for obvious reasons, it's because we're going to be covering a lot of area, so I want to use the bigger brush. I'm going to use a neutral color as a base. Okay. And then go underneath the eyebrow. And then for this, I actually go underneath my eye as well. So after you do that, you have to highlight your eyebrows. And I'm going to go with one of our other shader brushes here, which is our second to largest. And I'm going to use a color that actually, I guess I should show you my palette so you can kind of see. But the color that I'm going to use is this one right here. Oops, you can even see. And it's a lighter color, and it has a little bit of shimmer to it. And that's the perfect color for when you want to highlight your eyebrows, because you want it to just like stand out a little bit more. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that.